Don't ask why this feels like this. So, welcome to another race review, and so in a few minutes I will rage. So you guys better be prepared for that. You just pray that you don't lose your hearing vision or whatever it's called. So yeah, be prepared, and I'll tell you why later on. So stage one, my man Logano on both stages, all the way, all the way up until this idiot right here who thought it was funny to wreck him. Okay, yeah. So before we get into that, basically, see this? This is the scene from League Lesson No Stall. Okay, and apparently both the Bush brothers actually wrecked together, and I just made this just for fun. And yeah, Logano's basically getting his lungs torn off because of what Denny did, which he knew what he did was unacceptable, and fans are gonna call that hard racing. Explain that. Denny Hamlin fans has no respect. They got no respect. They obviously think what he did was hard racing. That's not true! You say that because you admire him! But the other good thing is, other than that, I'm glad for Byron, so yeah. Glad for Byron getting his first career win. Haven't seen that 24 car in victory lane. And yeah, so haven't seen him in victory lane in last time he's gone to victory lane obviously was a 2017. And yeah, let's get into the last stage way before all this happened. So James Davison, if you don't know who he is, he was a New Zealand racer or something like that, not Australian. He caused the first incident, and yeah, this is where it all began. Denny, idiotic, retarded Hamlin, who thought it was funny to dump Logano when he was trying to make a move on you. You should have moved out of the way or something. Instead of him wrecking, it should have been you. You know how much I hate Denny Hamlin. Hate this dude so much. If you're with me around a few days, I admired Denny Hamlin back then. But what he did, all the unacceptable stuff he does, I was like, forget my support on Denny. I was like, forget it. I'm not going to put up with this no more. I'm not going to put up with you dumping drivers and claim it's hard racing. Same goes for you, Joey. You call that super speedway racing? How would you feel if he sent you in the fence? Is that super speedway racing? Huh? Imagine if Logano gets brain injuries that causes death. Would that be super speedway racing to you, Joey? Would that? You saw my reaction. I banged my head so hard. Sadly, I didn't get a headache or concussion. But I blame this on Denny No Talent Hamlin. I want Daytona off the schedule. Remember back in the early NASCAR days? So there's this one scene in Cars 3, right? They were racing in sand, with the two main characters that always show up. And back in the early NASCAR days, they used to race in sand right next to the beach instead of idiotic drivers sending Joey into the wall on purpose. And Denny knew what he did and doesn't want to own up to his mistakes. And go ahead, Denny! Make BS excuses! Like anyone's gonna believe you! I just pray to God he gets eliminated in the round of 16. I just hope he does not win Darlington! I hate him so much! And you're probably wondering why. You've seen my cheating moment series. You've seen it, guys. You know I'm not stupid. You know what he did. Like, you've seen it before. You know it all. Literally, you guys know it. You guys, every time he does this, this isn't the first time he's done it. Let me explain a billion reasons how he's done it. In case you haven't seen my, Denny Hamlin cheating moments episode, he basically, in virtual racing earlier this year, shut off Dale Jr. off turn number 4 on purpose, just to get the virtual win, and just to excite his 2 little, immature, hasn't hit puberty yet, children. The 2 wild kids that throw a tantrum and stress out their mothers. They were probably being too wild after something, I don't know how his kids think it's okay to let their retarded father to send the 22 into the wall, losing nearly his front. I saw the damage, Denny! And you call that super speedway racing? Denny and Kyle think it's funny to be dumping drivers. I hope that 22 puts you in the wall at Talladega! I hope that happens. I hope that happens. I just hope that happens. I freaking hate Denny. And I wish he was never in the sport. Honestly, I don't want him in the sport no more. I hope he gets eliminated. I just hope something happens to this disgrace of a NASCAR driver. Second disgrace than Kyle Busch. Because he's obviously a disgrace. And Denny doesn't even own up to his mistakes. He just uses the same BS over and over again and just won't. No, all we hear is repetitive BS saying it's hard racing, and I don't get it. How is sending a driver into the wall hard racing? How? I don't get it. Only thing I was glad for is that this idiot did not win. Remember the Daytona 500? I blamed the Newman flip on Denny. Honestly, I'm so glad Denny did not win. I'm so glad. And the only thing good that happened in this race was my man winning stage 2, William Byron winning the race, and Kyle Busch wrecking. So that was the only 3 things that happened. And how Denny, you're probably wondering, how did Denny on purposely wreck Logano? Well, this was coming turn 1 with 3 laps to go or something. He just straight up sent the 22 into the wall. Well, not into the wall, into Bubba Wallace specifically, because Denny is obviously too much of an idiot. And Logano had lost control. He had sparks coming out. He literally saved it for a moment, and then lost control. And I blame this damage on Disgrace Denny Hamlin. You know how much I hate this driver. You've seen my reaction on this. I want Daytona off the schedule. Race at the beach. Please. I want Daytona off the schedule. I want NASCAR to race at the beaches, except for the Xfinity Series and trucks. They can race in the Daytona Superspeedway and the Daytona Road Course. Literally, back in the 50s, when NASCAR was actually good because they were new, they used to race in dirt, but instead goes to a track where it had a few deaths. Remember the Dale Earnhardt incident? And Denny Hamlin, who caused this, should be held responsible. What a disgrace he is. So anyways, thank you all for watching. And hold up.